Now that you know how to find things and put them into your planner, you're probably wondering now, how do I set it up so that it's a functional system for me? I'll explain to you a couple of ways. So first of all, on my dashboard, for example, you might want to set up your dashboard the way I have, or you might want to set it up differently. I used to keep my dashboard completely clean. It would just have what I wanted on my dashboard, and that was it. And then I found that I wasn't remembering to check my to-dos as often unless I had something on the front. So one tip for you might be to keep some sticky note or some type of thing on the front, and that's what people always wonder. When do I use sticky notes? When do I use notifications? Whenever you have a very long to-do list or something important to do the next day, make sure you actually write it out and have it visible for you. The next tip is going to be about how to set up your months. So your months might look smaller or less busy, or maybe they're more busy. That's really up to you. You can get a month on one page, or you can get a month on two pages, similar to mine. So what I do is I use different notifications from like stickers and things like that to let me know things are due. For example, today is the 12th and I do have a bill due, and I have a couple of things due today. So I put that in there because for me personally, I need to know what it is. I can't just do a sticker or a regular old dot because I don't know what that means, and I need to know what it means. So that may be different for different people. For example, I know that that's my Wi-Fi, I know that's my phone, I know that's my rent, and so that's easy for me. So a really good tip for you is to use notifications that work for you. If a dot works for you and you have a little key down here at the bottom, use that. If color coding works for you, if you need pens to color code, do that too. If you want your school to be one color and then you want your bills to be another color, do that. Do what works for you and just kind of figure it out as the year goes on and figure out what it is you need to do to make sure everything gets done. Okay, another tip is to use the system that you need in your weeks that works for you. I actually tried out a couple systems. I made both of these inserts on my own. So you let me know if you want to know more about those inserts. Use what works for you. I found that in my personal planner that my week on one page and vertical style worked well for me. I just wanted to use my Malden for a while, and I will go back to this. Somebody asked me in my last video if I use all my planners, and yes I do. I switch in and out of them depending on my mood, and that's a nice thing about having more than one planner as well. So it just depends on your personality. But I wanted a vertical. I made a vertical style for me, and then what I did was I used different notifications for my to-dos. And then one thing you'll notice throughout my entire planner on any of my videos is that I use these masking stickers and things like this for big things. Really big things, I use these because I want to be able to have my eye go to it, because all of this writing gets lost. So a good tip for you is to use things like that. So if you have something big to do that week, use really big notifications for it so that you know that that's what has to get done on top of everything else that day. Another tip for you might be if you like to decorate your months, what I like to do is have a page that says next month's important dates. So I have a page that I could just scribble down anything I need to remember for next month, and then when I go and make my month, all I have to do is stick that in there. So if some of you might be having a school section, I actually printed this out from DIY Fish, her free insert actually on her website, and I think it's Wonderland, don't quote me on that, but just look up DIY Fish and you'll find it. So I printed this out vertical style to go in my F.A.Q just as a reminder of what I have just for school. So as a tip for you, if you have a school section, go ahead and stick another month on a page so that your school stuff is not getting lost within your other stuff you have to do in that month, and you just have a school dedicated section. Question that I have gotten recently is when to use post-it notes. Like I said, I'll mention again, for post-it notes for me, I use post-it notes whenever I don't want to schedule something in or write something down. For example, here I have a pocket of a ornament and a couple of things I need to take for a church donation. So I just took a post-it note and I wrote that on this pocket right here. And that helps me recognize that I have something in there, but I'm not going to dedicate this pocket to church donations. I just have it there. Another thing I like to use post-it notes for is when it's on my actual flyleaf. I was on the phone with my mom and she told me that she got a note that I had jury duty on this day at this time. Oh, that's supposed to be 8 a.m. But I went ahead and jotted that down there, and then I actually went on my very important date section here, and I was able to write that down later on because I didn't have a place for it at the time, and that's what actually started my list for next month because I knew I had things that I needed to write down. On top of that, for post-it notes, I had this post-it note here on my week because these were things that I needed to look at above all this stuff here that I had already gotten done. So sometimes in your weeks you may run out of room and you may need a post-it note there, and that's okay. So for me, post-it notes are mostly when something stands out and doesn't need a page. For example, this did not necessarily need a whole page, so I had this list pad and I was able to write that down there. I would say definitely check your planner every morning, check your planner once during the day, and check your planner once in the night. So you have 3 times a day that you should check your planner, just because your planner is to remember things, not to forget things. So it's important that you check it often so that you are remembering things. And even if you know there is nothing to check, you never know if you're going to forget. And I hope to see you in my next video. Happy planning!